All right, everyone, welcome to today's video on how to use dynamic creatives on your Facebook ads. So if you want to generate more leads, more appointments, and more sales for your business, and you want to leverage Facebook ads, I'm going to show you how to use this newer feature called dynamic creative. So we're going to cover 4 things. What is dynamic creative? Number 2, is it better than the standard creative? And I'll explain the difference between both of them if you're not familiar. 3, why would you use it? And then 4, my favorite part about this channel is how do you actually do it? Because it's cool to talk about it, sit in front of the camera and, explain all this stuff theoretically. And it's basically my goal or mission on this channel to literally give away everything that I know. In hopes that it adds value to your business. And I've already gotten calls from people that are, in different countries and different states that, have said, wow, like you literally give all this stuff away. So I want to continue it. So stay tuned for number 4 because I'm going to show you how to actually do it. So let's get into it. So what is dynamic creative? So dynamic creative basically compiles all the components of your ad, right? And if you're new to Facebook ads and new to all this stuff, I have other videos that explain this a little bit more in detail just so you have the fundamentals. But basically when you have an ad, right, you have a campaign, right? So this is where you have your campaign, and inside of it, it basically houses your ad set. And the ad set consists of like your targeting, right? So if you're going to target people that are in the United States, you change that here. This is where you control your budget. This is where you control your placements, right? And then once you've done all that, then you have your ad. And this is where you control your images, your videos, your slideshow, your carousel. This is where you control like what the ad actually says, the headline, the button, and that's pretty much it. And so basically before, right, like before dynamic creative, all of these things were separate. So you would run your ad campaign, you would run your ad set, and then you would run your image ad, and then maybe you're just testing. The way I was taught to test ads is just to change one variable at a time, and these things are kind of changing with dynamic creative. If you really want to, start with the basic fundamentals, I would still, recommend this model, which I'll talk more about in 3. But basically, before these were all separate. So you'd run your ad campaign, you'd run your ad set, and then you would set all your images up, right? Or videos, and you would change one variable. So maybe the only variable here is this image, this is that image, this is that image, and this is that image, right? Same ad, same headline, same button. That way, when you measure it, you can basically see, for example, let's just say this one is getting $20 per lead, right? And then let's say this one's getting, I'll just put them all out right here. And you can basically see, this is basically how you would measure the system, right? So let's say this one's $50 per lead, this one's $100, and then this one is $45 or something, okay? So now, like this would be your winning ad, right? Now, keep in mind, this isn't the deepest funnel metric. The deepest funnel metric is gonna be the sale, right? So if you are a real estate agent, and you're getting $100 leads on this image, but this one is getting, for every lead you get, you're getting a listing. It would make 0 sense to turn these other ads off just because the cost per lead is lower, right? Or excuse me, you wouldn't turn off like this one, right? Just because the cost per lead is higher if it's getting you something further in your funnel, right? Like if it's actually getting you a deal. So most people kind of look at things only through that lens of like, oh, like this is the lowest cost per lead, I'm going to turn all these off, right? And that could be true, right? But the further you measure the system, the more you're going to measure like the actual results. So the next phase would be like measuring the cost per appointment per ad, and then the cost per like show up rate, and then the cost per deal, right? And if you want to just simplify it, you would just measure the cost per deal, okay? So when it comes to dynamic creative, right, these things used to all be separate. And if you're a newbie kind of beginner, then this is going to be, something to really like set your foundation so you have a clear understanding. Then as you evolve, you can obviously start to, try these different things. So basically this was how it was before, and now let me show you how it is now. So let's just say I was taught, right, okay, I'm only going to change one variable, change the image, everything else stays the same, right? So what I would do before, right, if I was going to scale up an ad set, right, I would basically duplicate an ad set, and then I would do this as ad set number 2, and then basically this would have its own set of ads just like you see here. Right, I'm not going to make that model, but that's what I would do. So if this was like 4 images, right, I find my winning image or whatever, then I'm basically testing the image, and then if I wanted to, once I found image 1, I would move into the next phase of like dialing in the audiences and seeing if there's new audiences that would be better, for this image technically, right? So that's how you used to kind of do it, and you can still do it that way. And like I said, it's not always going to outperform, like the new ways aren't always going to outperform, right, the old ways. Now with dynamic creative, what it does is it basically merges and compiles all the components of your ad. So remember, the ad consists of like the image, right, and then it consists of or if it's a video, but this could just be distilled down to it combines the creative. So it combines the creative, it combines the headline, the button, the text, right? All that stuff. And so basically now, instead of all of these ads going out into the into the stratosphere of Facebook, right, as separate ads, now dynamic creative basically combines these. So really it would probably look more like this, because there's really no start and end point. It's kind of like an infinite loop now if you use dynamic creative. And like I said, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So basically when you run your ad set out into the Facebook world, you're basically running, let's just say you could run 10 images, right, with 5 different combinations of ads, like written word, what you write in the ad and the headline. And basically the Facebook will shuffle and serve these automatically, uniquely to each person based on, other things that we have no idea how they're tracking or measuring, right? So like if they know that somebody clicked on an ad that said the word, let's just say, or it had like an orange image, right? Let's just say this one has like an orange image, or something in the ad is orange, just as an example, right? And then this other person just clicked on an ad that was green, right? Then basically, in its simplest form, instead of before where this ad, right, is going to go to whoever's in the audience, now it's shuffling these variables at the ad level, where it's like, oh, okay, all the people that click on the green ad, we need to serve them up this image, this text combination, this headline, and this button, right? And all the people that click on the orange ad, they need this image with this headline, with this button, and this thumbnail, right? And you could imagine how detailed it goes. It could even get into the length of the video, the type of ad, if there's text on the ad, if there's not text on the ad. Maybe certain people click learn more instead of clicking buy now or something like that. And so all these things basically before were kind of separate, which is good because, people like myself got a very classical kind of understanding, and it's actually, in my opinion, still very beneficial to learn ads this way, because you're able to really separate everything and understand how everything influences each other. But now, which is where I get a little bit more, in my visionary element, a little bit more, out there with my worldview, where basically, all these systems, all these technologies are becoming smarter, and they're converging and they're merging. So what I see, right, is it's not necessarily always going to outperform, this particular model, right? I think that's one of the things I'm good at, is I can still see the value of where things are going, but I also understand that there's things from the old models that are still valuable, right? But when it comes to like my perspective about why this is really going to be beneficial for people, is that if you look at the way these systems, right, and systems meaning like the Facebook algorithm, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all these different algorithms, right? They're continuing to learn at a pace that we really don't even have the ability to measure quite in the now, right? Only till later can we look back and see, what these things have been able to learn from our behavior. And so when you're, running an ad, right, a seemingly kind of like, you're just kind of running an ad, you don't really think of too much of it, right? The way I see it is like I'm basically programming, right, a computer to find people, right, to do something, right, to fill out a form or whatever it is. And so before, it was a lot more human controlled, right? Because it's like I run the ad, I choose the ad set, I choose the images, and everything's isolated, everything's separate from itself. And basically, I'm kind of the person that's doing this. Now it's getting to the point where these algorithms are like, hey man, hey woman, you don't know nearly as much as we do, and we're way smarter. We can make billions of decisions in seconds, and we can do it, over and over and over again without ever failing, pretty much, or do a pretty good job of it. And if you just give us like a general direction, right, and you like tell us what direction to go, we're going to do all of these things internally to show it to the people based on all these micro behaviors and actions, right? So hopefully I didn't lose you on there. To me, it makes sense, but really this is where, I believe it's going. This is where I believe it already is. That's why, when you go on your Instagram page versus mine, it's like totally different, right? These things have been around for already, a long period of time. But when it comes to kind of understanding the bigger picture as to why dynamic creative is, something to consider, it's really because, you're taking your, human element that was definitely needed, and you're really just kind of bubble cutting and saying, hey, like, this is the shape I want to create. Like, I want to create a circle, or I want to create a triangle, right? And then you create infinite possibilities, right? As to how and who and when and what like this looks like, right? And so before, you didn't really control this stuff, right? It was just like, or you controlled all of it, excuse me. Now we're kind of moving into this world where it's like, hey, these things are really, really smart. And if we have the right people kind of using it, right, which is basically what you would be if you're running an ad either for a client or for yourself, and you just kind of send it in the right direction, it's going to know who and where to show it to, right? And so now you can basically do up to 10 of these. So I'm not going to relabel these, but basically you can do up to 10 of these, right? So now you can, I know that's 8, right? But basically, let me move this. But basically you can do up to 8 of these now, or 10 of these, excuse me, all in one, basically in one like ad set is what it would be considered, right? And so there's something in math called permutations, and just before I try to explain it myself. So basically, a way, especially one of several possible variations in which a set or number of things can be ordered or arranged. So when you look at permutation, right, if you look at a certain, for example, like the amount of like ways that a certain combination of numbers can be arranged may blow your mind. So before, it's like, oh yeah, there's really only like, I'm generalizing here, but there's really only 4 ways to like arrange this, right? Like maybe this goes here and then this one goes down here, and technically that's not fully accurate because there's a lot more variables inside of these, right? But generally speaking, so you understand the example, like the amount of combinations you could create before on your own were like pretty limited, because you'd have to like, you couldn't like go into the ad and like time who to show it to, right? So that was what the algorithm did before. Now, more and more variables, I guess if I were to simplify this all into one statement, more and more variables, and I know this applies to just life in general, not even just ads. More and more variables are having the ability to be rearranged with much more efficiency at lower costs, right? And can create better results, right? And so this could be anything, right? It could be when you're looking up a video. It could be when you're at the store. I use Instacart. I've been using Instacart for 4 years, and they know what products I'm going to buy, what groceries I need, right? So this machine learning basically has the ability to, juggle more and more variables at an insane rate, and identify the behavior of the people on the other end and serve them, and even automatically create a combination like on the spot. And I'll get into that when I show you how to actually do this. So hopefully that makes sense. To me it does, because I have known this for a while, and now basically these internal truths that were already developed are like manifesting externally with ads and all these things. But yeah, basically to simplify it, right, more variables are able to be rearranged and created into, combinations that are more accurate and more efficient for really anything, right? And that's the power of machine learning. So that's called permutation, if you want to look that up and just kind of see like an example here. But basically now we're allowing the the dynamic creative to basically create these for us instead of doing it ourselves. So I wanted to see if there was like here we go. So like this is basically an ad set. This is really how everything works. So it's like if you look up DNA strand, you'll see the same like patterns, right? So it's basically like ads are just DNA strands, and that was basically how I was taught, which is why I don't really trip on if Facebook goes away, because really everything works like this, like building blocks. So you see these 3 letters, right, as ABC, and basically, you're just like, oh, there's basically these 3 different ways to arrange it, like A, B, and C, BAC, and CBA. And then if you rearrange, like these, right, A, B, C, A, C, B, and then BAC, BCA, et cetera, right? And you could imagine that these things literally, you add 2, 3 more letters, this thing like goes on into infinity, right? So that's the same thing that dynamic creative is doing, is like, instead of, it being separate like ABC and you're just controlling ABC, dynamic creative is basically encouraging you to just put in more variation, put in more ad angles, put in more images, put in more videos, and allow it more room, because these things are way, way, way more smarter, okay? So that's basically number one. So number two, I think this is a simple answer. So you just have to test, right? There's no like, okay, it's just always better. But I think with what I just shared, right, there's a way to look at it of like, wow, I could see how if I let the algorithm do its thing instead of me just trying to do all of it, you're probably going to give yourself a better shot of creating more variation and creating more potential like variation for the audience with like basically not much less work. It's actually less work to do it the new way. So that's usually the case. So that's that. So is it better? It just depends. You have to test it. So that's 2. 3, why would you use it? So I would recommend using this, right, if you're experienced with ads and you're running it this way, so you can test and see, basically like me, like, okay, I've ran ads like this for, the last 6 years, and now, people have been doing dynamic creative for longer, right? But, with my business and the clients we have, like it's something now to consider and stuff, just because it may make it easier and get them better results, right? So you would use it if you're someone that's only pretty much done it this way, and if you want to learn, and even if you're new, you could still do this. I just recommend at least having this understanding, because if you just start here, this may confuse you. So that's that. Now 4, my favorite part of the channel. So how do you actually do it? So let's open up the Business Manager and set up some ads. So we're going to go to my test account here, and I'm going to show you basically real quick how to do this setup, and then I'm going to show you how to do this, and I'm going to do it pretty quick. Okay. So basically we go here to create a campaign. We choose our objective. So we're going to choose leads in this example. And then I'm just going to do campaign 1. I don't ever name things this way, but I just want to show you guys so you understand, especially if you're new. Real simple how this works. Let's just call this ad. So basically right here, I created this classical model, right? So we have our campaign. Inside of our campaign, really inside of the campaign, you just choose like the category and the objective. So the objective would be like Facebook messages, Facebook lead forms, or conversions, right? Or engagement. So that's really the only lever that you pull right here, okay? And some of these others, but for the sake of simplicity, really the only lever you're pulling is the objective, right? If you're not doing these other things. The second part is your ad set. So this is where you choose like the conversion location, okay? And this is where you would choose like your pixel, your event, and all that, okay? Choose your budget, choose your targeting. So without getting into all this, I want to show you real simple how this would work. So let's just say the only variable we're going to change is going to be, let's just say the location, okay? This way you'll really understand it very simply. So let's say this one, I'm going to choose United States. So people living in the United States, and that's it. I'm not going to change anything else, just so you really understand this. And just imagine there was an ad here, okay? So from my page, there's an ad, okay? And then you basically would have this ad here. So same ad, same headline, all that would be the same. Okay, so imagine you launch that into the stratosphere. In the classical version, right, if I said, okay, I want to only change one variable, then this is what I would do. I would have duplicated this ad set. All the ads would stay the same. And then I would just go here to ad set number 2. And then let's just call this, let's see, let me run this and let's just do Alaska. Okay, so then this would just be in Alaska only, right? So then I'm going to just come here, and then this is in Alaska. I'm giving weird examples so your mind like understands the difference. So this one's all across the US, and then this one's just in Alaska. And then let's just say I wanted to duplicate this, and do another ad set, right? This is what you do when you're like scaling. And let's just say for another extreme example, I'm going to choose Ireland, the country of Ireland. So now we have 3 ad sets. We have the United States, we have Alaska, and then we have Ireland. And then you're like, okay, I want to keep scaling. All right, well, these ads are working. Let's see if this is going to work in South Africa. Okay, so you come here. Boom. Now keep in mind, these should have been deleted on the other one. So you can see there should only be one. Okay, so delete that. Then there it is. So now you could see, right? You would have like 4 ad sets running with all the ads inside of them. And then let's say you are measuring the lead and cost per lead. Real simple. You would see, oh, okay. Well, basically the one that's winning in terms of cost per lead would be you would easily be able to tell, because it would just be right here and there's only one variable, right? So this is why it's good to understand this. And I do have an awesome video in my course where I really explain Facebook ads. And if you guys want that, just let me know and I can release it on YouTube totally free. Yeah, because I really explain this classical model in depth. So this would be an example, right, of the classical model. Now let's just do the dynamic creative. Okay, so we're going to delete that and I'm going to show you how to do the dynamic. So let's do the same thing, leads, and then let's do campaign. So we're going to do campaign number 1 just to keep it simple, and then ad set number 1. And then we're going to do ad number 1. Okay, so in the previous example, we changed the location as the variable. In this example, we're going to change the ad as the variable. So if we come here, right, I'm not going to change anything else here. This will just be the United States. So then what you're going to do is you're going to turn on this dynamic creative. And now when you go into this ad set, if I go to my page, you're going to see here we can infinitely splice all these different ads. So we would do ad 1, and then look, you can add another option. Ad 2, ad 3, ad 4, ad 5. And you can do the same thing here. Headline 1, headline 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so this would be the same way we spliced, right, the audience before. Now at the ad level, you can splice literally components of the ad individually. Okay, so what you'll see too is we can even change all the buttons. So we could add all these buttons, right? So we just gave it a ton of room to breathe here. We can change the description. So we could add 5 descriptions here, right? You wouldn't want to change the URL. And I don't think they let you do that. And then look, optimize the creative for each person. So vary your ad creative and destination based on each person's likelihood to respond. See possible optimizations. This is basically what I'm explaining to you. So we could select our images. So let's just select these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom. So now we just, within a few clicks, created literally 10 different image combinations that could have any of the 5 ad combinations and any of the 5 headlines and any of the 5 descriptions and any of the 5 buttons. So basically these don't line up. So like ad 1 doesn't go with headline 2. Ad 1 can go, it's like a permutation. Ad 1 could go with headline 1, headline 2, headline 3, headline 4, or headline 5. And ad 1 could go with headline 1 and description, description 1. Or it could go ad 1, headline 1, description 2, ad 1, headline 1, description 3, and so on and so forth for each of these different combinations. So think about it. Just by setting up your ads this way, you literally increase the amount of combinations by a ton, versus before it was just one ad like this, one headline, one description, and then you would have to keep duplicating it over and over, and those ads wouldn't potentially learn cohesively together. You would still be creating a new combination, but you wouldn't have it all in one thing where it's feeding off of each other. So maybe it realizes the first 10 times it shows the ad that everyone's responding to a certain image. If you do a carousel, you could see it's going to optimize it to show what image is performing the best. So if you did a carousel, you can see here it will choose the combination of the actual images that are performing the best. So if we go to manual upload, dynamic creative, see, so multiple ads will automatically be generated using your individual creative assets. So that's basically how it works. And so if you were to set it up, really what I would recommend doing is just using kind of a sheet like this, and you would just have your single campaign. You'd have all your audiences here. And then the crazy thing too is, like I said before, you would just split the audience, right? And you were only able to tell the difference between the audience. Now, imagine you did all the combos of text, all the headlines, all the descriptions, all the buttons, all the different images. By duplicating that and just changing the audience from US to Alaska, you would literally have so many more variables to basically give the audience and see what's performing better just by switching to dynamic creative. So really, if you know what you're doing and you put good inputs into the system, you're definitely increasing your odds, because, you know, if you're limiting what people can see and they're all good, then you're only going to give it one small segment. So what I would do, right, is you'd have your audience one. So let's just say for real estate, this was Zillow. Then you have Redfin. Then you have Trulia. Then you have loan. Then you have refinance or something, right? Then you have ad 1, ad 2, 3, 4, 5, headline 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., right? And then basically the way it would work is like this now becomes your campaign. So you now have Zillow that is going out with all these combinations, and these can rearrange and shuffle themselves in any order. Then you have your Redfin going out in any order, right? So just by deleting it, or excuse me, just by creating dynamic creative, you're literally like giving it so many more combinations. So now you got Trulia. Now you got this, so, and now you can see you have one campaign. These are all technically one within one campaign, okay? And then lastly, you just got to delete the refi. So just by duplicating your ad set, you literally gave all of this like so many different combinations, versus before it was just like this. So you would just have your Zillow here, and then it would just be like this, right? And then you just be like this, and so on and so forth. I won't do all of these, but basically you really only had like the different image, same headline, same description, same image, same button, right? And then now within each one, you're literally giving it the ability to show and mix and shuffle all these different ads together. So yeah, I'm definitely going to post that Facebook ads classical training if you guys are interested. That way this may make a little bit more sense to you. That's why I recommend sticking with this to start so you don't get confused. It is a little bit more advanced, but ultimately you're just shuffling permutations. Like that's the simplest way to explain it. So once you spend a little bit of time like researching permutations, you know, you can see like A, B, C, D. Let's see if it shows any of these. I know I showed you the A, B, C, but yeah, it's basically just like that. Okay. And you can just, it's just going to shuffle and combine all these different combos. So all you have to do is write out, you know, your 5 ads or whatever, 5 different headlines, 5 different descriptions, and then just by doing that, you're increasing your odds by a ton. And I'd love to, if someone, you know, wants to do the math behind, you know, 5 ad sets tested with dynamic creative versus 5 ad sets tested with standard, and come up with the you know, number of you know, combinations, then that'd be dope. But that's it for today's video. I showed you how to actually do it. So you just splice it up down here and just map all the creatives out, paste them in one by one, and then it'll automatically shuffle them for you. And then when you're analyzing them and measuring them, you just go here to your breakdown, and then you do by delivery, and then you can see different variables here. So if you want to see it by the like, let's say by the ad here, watch, so the ad will show up here. If you want to see it by the placement, you can see that, right? Okay, like where you know, like where is this ad actually being shown and performing the best. If you want to see it by the media type, if it's an image or a video, you can see all that stuff here. So that's how you would measure it. And then the other thing too is the actual copy. So like what you write in the ad, that will be shown. Let's see. I think when you actually launch it, it shows it, because I'm not seeing the normal like dynamic creative element. Yeah, I think when you launch it, then it shows the actual like creative element here, so you can measure it. So hopefully this helped you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video, and comment below if you would like that Facebook ads class. Oh, and then lastly, if you want to partner with me, I've had a bunch of people reach out using Go High Level. Here's, I guess, 4 simple reasons. So it's absolutely the same cost as if you were to sign up directly to High Level. So if you're an agency owner that wants to get more clients for your business, then, you know, if you're not using High Level, if you were to go sign up, it's $297 a month, which basically gives you the ability to create unlimited sub accounts, which is what I've been using the last, you know, 3 years. And so all I'm asking is that you would sign up with my affiliate link. And then 2, I've designed systems specifically for real estate. So you can see here, these are just some of the things I've got: buyer seller course, traditional seller course, mortgage purchase course, refi course, snapshot, solar snapshot. This one's in the making, entrepreneur VSL course. Show you how to build VSLs. A lot of stuff there, but basically I give you like all my stuff. And you can just partner with me. And if you're an actual agent or a broker and you're interested in having us, you know, run one of these systems for you, you can comment below as well. 3, you'll have me as a resource. And then 4, all these content, you know, trainings I'm making, new ad templates, all this stuff, like all these sheets or whatever it is, like I'm just giving them all away. I'm showing you guys how to do it. And then if you partner with me, you just get access to like everything I'm creating. So hopefully this video helped you out. If you have any questions, feel free below to ask me, and I will see you in the next video. All right, peace.